Hello and welcome to Speed Game Live 2021 Bloodstained Rando Cinco Bingo Finals. The tournament, the final round here. We've got Alucard2004 versus Solski. Joining me, I'm Badmoons, and with me is Ace Zero.
How's it going, Bad Moons?
Doing good, doing good. I'm looking forward to this match.
Yeah, same. This is gonna be a really good matchup. These two played in the winners bracket previously. Alucard took that race, and well, ready for the rematch. I don't think any of us that are regulars of this randomizer are surprised to see these two in the finals. But it definitely should shape up to be a really good one.
Yeah, these were the two front runners from the get-go. It's been an amazing tournament so far, and I think it comes as no surprise to see these two here, but it should be a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get kicked off, I want to shout out our tracker, Link Force, as well. She's going to be a huge help to us keeping track of what's going on, because there's going to be a lot happening as we see runners are already off. Start to play through the ship. So, Bad Moons, you want to go over like what we're looking for immediately here?
So yeah, okay. So there's a lot of things going on. First, we've got the part of the tournament rules is we have guaranteed accelerator and guaranteed weapon, and those are placed in the first chest. So we find immediately a swordfish. So the one thing about the weapons that are in that first chest tend to be kind of lousy, but it's better than nothing. So usually as soon as you find something else, you equip that. As to what's going on, our runners are trying to complete 5 bingos on this tile card of 25 objectives. They're going to be looking for items, weapons, shards, a couple in particular, Zangetsudo, which is a weapon that unlocks part of the game, and then some sort of movement shard. So they start. They're going to kill. Each enemy has a different shard, with a few exceptions. There's a couple that don't have any shard, and they're going to go look and grab chests and evaluate this bingo card on the fly to figure out where they want to go. The beginning here on the ship is somewhat linear, so you'll see them kind of basically do the same thing here. Decision point on, you could choose to stay and farm this first SEMA or move on. Looks like Alucard will stay to farm at least a few of the SEMA or collect some mana. You get mana from candles or lights.
Yeah, that's maybe the only disadvantage of having that accelerator early. It makes your movement so much easier and better, but you have a mana cost, and it can be very frustrating when it like runs out during your movement and it messes you up all over the place. But I kind of expect this like thoroughness here from Alucard to continue throughout the seed. Kind of tends to be his playstyle. We'll see if that pays off, makes a difference. There's so many things in the card though that one thing paying off isn't necessarily a game breaker, unlike some randomizers.
Yeah, it's yeah, like it pays to be thorough, but like in a race setting, you're gonna eventually have to choose when to move on, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of like Solski's decision better to press on, just because your resources are so low. Like, even if you get like a better weapon in one of these chests coming up, that could make this farm potentially better. You know, 1 hit instead of 2 to kill the SEMAs. Maybe just hit the shard on the way anyway. Get lucky. We haven't seen a lot of shards hit. Void Ray is a really good one. Yeah.
And to your point too here is as you get better damage, DPS, you'll be able to kill enemies quicker and thus be able to farm quicker. So there is the argument to just move on, particularly from this early area, and Solski being rewarded with that, even just if it saved him, 30 seconds here. Getting that Void Ray sooner will get him farming enemies quicker,
Yeah.
sooner.
It's one of those things that at this point he might not be utilizing glitter. You see, he's still using his sword, that katana that he picked up to kill the enemies. The accelerator uses a little bit too much magic to be able to use some of your spells. Of course, some enemies like these ghosts, it's saving him some time with. They're really obnoxious to try to kill with melee attacks, especially when they take multiple hits. We see Eastern Fabric drop. I don't think we have any armor yet, so these guys have to be careful with their health, but the drop table for the Ghost does have a Shinobi Guard, one of the best armors in the game.
Yeah, and stats, especially at the beginning here, are going to be very important. I know all of us have a varying degree of issues in equipping or eating food. Food bonuses in this game give you a good amount of stats too. And basically, don't forget to equip your gear.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a risk reward thing, because you have some armor that gives you better defense. You want to equip it right away, but then you don't want to pause every time you get an item when you're it's a marginal increase. Keep pausing, that's a time loss. Same with the food thing. If you eat your food right away, it gives you those stat bonuses, but you don't get the health recovery effects if your health's already full. So they might choose to delay some of those just a little bit.
Both runners taking the time to farm these Dullahammer heads here early on. So this is one that I often opt to skip for when I have better equipment, just because these enemies are all over the place.
They are, and they tend to have a low drop rate too. It maybe just anecdotal, but it feels like their drop rate's lower than a lot of enemies, and maybe getting something that helps increase that drop rate, some more luck, or a Solomon's Ring, something like that, and coming back would be nice. But it's hard to farm later. You don't want to leave some movement on the ship. We don't have any additional movement shards yet. That's the first main thing these guys are going to be looking for. Apart from that damage increase, shards that give them movement are going to be key. Double jump, high jump, invert, maybe dimension shift.
Yeah, and as a note, in this version of the randomizer, you are guaranteed to get one of 6 movement shards on an early enemy. That's just to drastically increase the rate of a successfully completable seed. Some movement shards are better than others. I do want to scan the bingo card here real quick. There are some objectives that involve defeating bosses in particular ways. And quick look here. I'm not seeing any. And Alucard is moving right onto the boss. So maybe there aren't any. And just like that, boss down.
Yeah, nice and quick. Got the medal. Although, again, that's not on the card, but it can be sometimes, so... we're moving in, and there's the ×2 Alcahest drop. Was that from the rat?
I didn't see, but...
Because Alucard got that here on his way into town. Both runners did get the rat shard, so if it was the rat, that might be something Solski misses if he doesn't get that item drop to see that the Alcahest or the ectoplasm is on there.
Yeah, Alcahest is very important for the completing several objectives. Namely, what you can do with it, you can deconstruct items, any item, just about any item, and it'll turn into other items at the cost of Alcahest. So that could lead you towards, for example, the runners have a goal of collect 3 differently named rapiers. They may be able to use their Alcahest to obtain rapiers.
Yeah, and looks like I didn't see Alcahest craftable. So one of the big there's some things that can kind of break the seed open or break certain things open. If Alcahest is dismantleable and craftable, that can be big. Alucard went ahead and dismantled. Oh, it is craftable. Okay, so now that he's crafted it, just like any other items in the vanilla game, that's available in shop. So now he can buy, of course, if he has the money, as much Alcahest as his heart desires. Looks like Solski did get that drop, though, from the rat, so that's really good that that's not an imbalance between our 2 runners. Solski's not going to be missing out on that ×2 Alcahest for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that part of the rationale for why we have guaranteed accelerator is, well, one, you want to go fast, and it's fun to go fast. But two, disparity in where you find accelerator often led to who won the match. Missing an early Alcahest like this or other key items could also indicate the race early, so I'm glad that both runners were able to find and identify the Alcahest immediately. Keeps us in a competitive game.
Oh, and I see, since it's only one Alcahest cost to dismantle it, it looks like Alucard is dismantling a bunch of Alcahest to get parts to sell. So he's going to do this to make more money to buy more Alcahest, the food he needs, and whatever other items in the shop that we haven't really looked at or talked about yet.
Yeah, so it seems like we've got infinite Alcahest and infinite money.
Basically.
A luxury that I've actually never encountered in any of the seeds I've played. It's not that common, but it can come up, and playing the shop is certainly a skill for this bingo randomizer.
It sure is. Did Solski not craft the Alcahest? Did I miss that, or did he not do that for some reason? I saw him dismantle.
He may have just identified, like maybe that's what he's doing right now, or not. Maybe he needs to go get more. It could also be a calculated move where he'll do it later, so to speak. I'm looking at the card. There actually are not a lot of item necessities. I'm seeing... I mentioned the rapiers. There's also like longsword and harpe and rapier. Well, I guess in the top left, we've got ribbon and wolfhood and cat ears and stuff. So there's a couple.
Yeah, it tends to be... It looks like a very shard-heavy card for the most part. With a few objective-based goals in here as well. Even without those goals on the card, I still... Maybe Alucard's taking a little bit longer than necessary to do this, but I like the idea of doing it early if you're going to do something like this, because it gives you really good chance just getting things that speed you up, like getting just better armor. Get all your food right away, so you don't have to worry about that.
Everything that's there is there for you. Looking at this now, Solski's farming the rat, so he may not have noticed the Alcahest, infinite Alcahest deconstruct.
It looked like he was in the crafting list, but it wasn't there for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe he wasn't in the materials list and he was in the consumables list or something. Either that or maybe
I can't think of a reason why he would be farming the rat, though.
Yeah, it's really intriguing. I'm curious what's going on there. Maybe he missed a recipe book and a hidden wall or something, and that was a difference maker. I don't know.
It could be. We'll see when he returns to the... ostensibly he's farming this Alcahest for something right now. So when he returns to the crafter, we'll see if he can come up with a craft for Alcahest itself.
In all this, I'm not sure what Alucard has purchased. Have you seen anything specifically? Oh, he did get some Jeebel's glasses there. So that's dismantleable from...
So what do the Jeebel's glasses do? Can you explain that?
The Jeebel's glasses are basically the most important individual item in the game. They give you infinite magic. You still have to have enough capacity to cast any spell, but it doesn't drain when you use it, so you can basically spam any of your shards that you want constantly. Some of them are incredibly powerful with a high magic cost, of course, but that becomes irrelevant. It really speeds up your movement a ton. Just really important. It's also got a really big stat boost, honestly, for a lot of stats as well. So
yeah, Jeebel's glasses is potentially, I don't want to say I have a banned list, but for future tournaments, it may be a flag that we can turn on or off. Getting the G-Bulls first is, I mean, it's an advantage that as time goes on, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, if you don't find G-Bulls, but your opponent does, like, that could be the difference in the race, especially this early on.
Yeah, absolutely. I would guess that Solski saw the G-Bulls there, and that's why he's farming this Alcahest so aggressively. Maybe he saw the G-Bulls glasses and didn't notice the craftable Alcahest just because he got that tunnel vision.
Yeah, and I can completely understand that. When I first get to the crafter, especially if I know I have an Alcahest, I'm going to scan for if G-Bulls or Solomon Ring are there. Probably, and like at this early in the game, that's probably all I'm looking at, not considering anything else.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, Solomon Ring just state is an accessory that you can equip that'll increase the rate of collecting shards, and has a hefty stat bonus on it as well. Well, Alucard looks like he's going back to the ship, maybe to clean up some shards he missed.
Hey, I don't know what
I
else
don't think
is
he
left
got a
here.
movement.
Oh, I guess the Dullahammer head, or Dullahammer is the only one he's missing. No, that's
He's going to farm up
Okay.
extra shards to increase his void ray damage. That's smart, that makes sense. Looks like Solski's going to move on into entrance.
Honestly, I like the moving forward here. Like, the grade of your shards. So there's two ways to level up your shards. One is the rank and one is the grade. Generally, grade that's by getting more of the shard, and that does better damage. Rank does other effects, like the size of the attack or the rate of fire, potentially. I don't necessarily know that you need higher grade Void Ray right now. It's pretty powerful. You could see Solski 1 and 2 shotting these enemies already with it. Like, taking the time to sink in and level it up is maybe not necessary right now.
Yeah, like everything that you're going to encounter for the next like 30 minutes is going to die in one beam anyway.
Yeah, and if you get a shard like, say, Summon Hellhound or Flamethrower, Bolide Blast, or something like that, which Bolide Blast is also available. That was the Rat, I believe. So that's a really good, powerful one as well for bosses. You can kind of stun lock bosses with it to prevent them from attacking, and it does a lot of damage as well. So I would maybe just not worry about this right now.
Yeah, there's certainly merit in it, though. I know Void Ray hits a little bit harder than Tis Resign, but I know in past races where I have specifically not farmed it, and my opponent has, they typically overcome where I am within maybe a half hour, which is probably right around when you get to the point where the beam is no longer one-shotting enemies.
Yeah, it looks like Solski is farming for that Shinobi garb that I mentioned earlier, which is the armor drop off these ghosts. That's my guess, because he's got the Gale Crawler already that was their shard drop, and he's continuing to farm them.
He's not picking up the item, though.
Yeah, I don't know I'm not sure what Solski's doing. This is odd.
Maybe he missed that he got the shard.
Because it showed up and he fell down.
No, it's
Gale Crawler was okay.
It must have been the other guy.
Gale Crawler was on the Blood Grinder. All right, my mistake. He did see the red appear from the ghost and left the screen. Could have paused. When that happens, you don't get the shard, but you can pause and see what the shard was, which was an option there. But sometimes it's faster just to farm a couple more times.
Yeah, and like the way the crafter works, there are 12 shards in the crafter that become available only after you unlock or obtain, rather, the random prerequisite shards. So sometimes it's good to just make sure you get everything early on. You don't know what will end up being in the crafter.
Yeah, Retractor Linkforce saying he does have the Shinobi garb. I know they had good armor from the first. I always forget her name. The tunic quest.
Abigail.
Abigail. That's right. Thank you. She gave I think Imperial armor for a tunic, which is a big increase. Oh, Solski not using the Gale Crawler. He must be forgetting that's an option. Accidentally, I think the Dandelion familiar did too much damage on that toad, and so the trick Solski's trying to do here is you can wait for this toad and like kind of bait him into the Iron Maiden, and it'll seal shut with the toad in it, and then you can just push it. Normally, you need Craftwork to move that, so you can also trigger it with Gale Crawler, and I think that's it.
Yeah, the only other way would be if you had Dimension Shift, then you just go around it.
Mhm.
Oh, and we see an early Warhorse room here.
I like it.
I did see them pick up the key earlier, and I guess with Jeebles and Void Ray, and like, honestly, this is a pretty easy boss. It just has a lot of HP.
Yeah, with Bolide Blast, I really would like to see him use that. Like, you'd have to quick switch shards, but is that 30 damage? It's hard to read the numbers. 38 damage.
Yeah,
It's not a ton.
Void Ray is a lot safer. Like Bolide, there's like a kind of distance you gotta judge.
Yeah, it stun locks him though, so you can get him locked in place for quite a while, and not have to face as many attacks necessarily.
Like Solski's probably can take one hit before dying.
Yeah, I didn't see what foods he has or what stat bonuses these guys got from the food they ate.
Yeah, I missed that as well. I'm not even sure if they ate their food, for what it's worth.
I saw both of them in there eating food, but I don't know if they ate all of it or just some. It's either is a good strategy. It's okay to save some for later. I would imagine Alucard ate all of his food and then bought replenishments with the money he was farming by dismantling and selling the parts of the Alcahest.
Yeah. And no reason not to. Like, he took the 1 minute needed to generate infinite money.
Yeah, and for anyone that's wondering too, this optional boss does give you a guaranteed shard. For whatever reason, the Warhorse always gives you a shard, so that's why this one would be more advantageous to do early than, say, Millionaire's Bane or the Carpenter. Just drain from it, though, so not anything important. I don't believe that's on their card. Oh, collecting a shard from one of those optional bosses is on the card, though. That's right, so it doesn't matter what the shard is. Solski's on the board with the first square. The bottom left should be lighting up any second.
I think there's just a delay, so it will be marked. Speaking of the bingo card, though, there are certain tiles that are a little bit more valuable than others, namely the center square here, but also the corners, just the nature of how a bingo board is laid out, so I'm sure Solski is happy to get a corner right from the get-go.
Yeah, and looking at that, the center square is not too bad. There are two different shards you can use to turn enemies to stone. They're both a little bit obnoxious to use with enemy resistances or some being immune to that effect. It's hard to always remember and juggle that. But that's a pretty easy one. The 69 capacity is also a very easy square to get. So that's part of the top left, bottom right diagonal. That one's generally kind of a freebie.
Also looking at that diagonal, though, there is the defeat Bloodbringer, Buer, Karabos, Danton, and Dullahammerhead using only familiar shards. This is one that I expect our runners to put off unless it's going to win them the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That takes a long time. And something that I know I lack some skills in is knowing which familiars to fight which familiars with. You don't have to use the same one for this objective. So, for example, the runners have the Dandelion shard. They could use that to kill a Bloodbringer shard. And then maybe if they get the Silver Armor, or Silver Knight, rather, use that to farm the rest. Sometimes they just don't coordinate well or don't line up quite right.
All right, so Solski's back in the shop here.
Yeah, what do you think he's looking for?
I don't know. Like, I hope he sees that he can get Alcahest out of the shop. Maybe he's just checking what items he's recently picked up, if it turns into a Solomon's or maybe a skull necklace.
He just crafted Alcahest.
Okay, good.
And not using it, just buying some more spaghetti, and he's off.
So to note, there's he's gonna farm up this Gearman shard here. There is one demon in the game that will not drop a shard. He might be checking that right now. Cannot tell at the moment. But it is a little interesting here that we've got our runners high-fiving, so to speak.
Yeah.
Both fighting Zangetsu, one at the same time. And it's starting to make me wonder if between the Alcahest and money farm that Alucard spent the time to generate, as well as farming the Void Ray shard, if that's starting to already pay off. He's just, one or two rooms behind Solski now.
Yeah, we'll see if that damage difference comes into play here. So Plunderer's Ring, that's a neat item to have. We saw Alucard equip that. Did Solski equip his Plunderer's Ring?
That I don't know.
They each have a Gambler's Ring.
Right, yeah, Alucard just substituted that for the Plunderer's Ring, which I prefer the Plunderer's Ring. They both give you a decent amount of luck increase. The Gambler's Ring gives you a higher drop rate of money. The Plunderer's Ring gives you more item drops, which I think is more valuable here in the bingo, especially with things like Collect the Double Hammer Helm, Cat Ears, Wolf Hood, etc. Getting some of those items from enemy drops early without having to farm them, it can be really helpful.
Yeah, as this tournament has gone on, I've actually adopted that I prefer Plunderer's Ring to even Skull Necklace. Like, it's probably the number 3 accessory in my mind, with G-Bulls and Solomon Ring being number 1 and number 2. Just the item drops are very important for identifying. There's almost always a tile or two on the bingo card that's going to be based on enemy drops.
Yeah, and if not, you can often get enemy drops that are really valuable and then sell them to make up for the money you're not getting with the Gambler's Ring. So, say you find the Crimsonite drops or Flame Mail, things like that are pretty high value. Don't want to gloss over though, we do see a high jump shard. That is our first movement shard on the Toad.
That's a very welcome sight too. A high jump, in addition to being a nice quality of life movement shard, really opens up a lot of the game. We have a chance to see divergence here too. If our runners can go into Upper Cathedral, or they could go back down to Garden, cross the Garden, and then make their way either to Tower or even underground. Be interested to see what they decide.
Yeah, I think we'll see. I don't think we'll see underground just yet. Especially with the Jeebel's glasses and Void Ray, getting to OD is nice. There's a good amount of items there in the library, and having the books you can check out to increase the strength of your directional shard, that can be really helpful, especially for Solski, who hasn't leveled up that Void Ray. He could use a little bit of extra damage from it.
Yeah, I imagine we'll see Solski head straight to OD. And as we speak, Alucard has already chosen Upper Cathedral here.
Yeah, and he could go Upper Cathedral into the library through Bloodless. I think that's a good route, or warping back and crossing the ravine in the garden to Tower Library. I think both of those are solid choices. kind of just pick your poison. You're going to go up or down with high jump at least. If you only had, say, dimension shift, I think it'd be better to go lower route because dimension shifting around this upper cathedral is very obnoxious.
Yeah, and I think that's actually probably part of what led Alucard to this play. He's got high damage beam. A lot of the enemies are especially if you don't have a good shard for ranged. A lot of the enemies in this area are difficult to hit. Like that Osipete in particular, like he's very hard to farm. Like outside of Tisra or Void Ray. The white elemental being another enemy that's difficult to hit without a long distance beam. So between like his damage loadout and high jump, plus opening up that I didn't even consider that he opened up the lever there to get access to these checks that he skipped.
Yeah, I think what it looks like Alucard's going to do is grab these checks here. There's a couple more underneath the floor of this room, and then go back up, check that save/warp, and then probably continue up to the library. I like it. I wouldn't have thought to do that myself.
Yeah, and we do see Solski now also in Upper Cathedral.
Yeah, we've got the ×1 Alcahest too on the gargoyle, or at least one of them. There are 3 enemies that drop Alcahest. We haven't seen the third one yet, I don't believe, but it's kind of funny. We see both of we see 2 of them this early.
Yeah. One thing that at this point, I think all of our runners in the tournament are aware is once you find one Alcahest, you can look in the archive and see where all the other drops are. Kind of unnecessary today since we got the ×2 drop immediately. It's kind of the one you always want to identify. Sometimes the Alcahest is not on a farm-friendly enemy, so you want to see what your options are.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of drops, though, I gotta say I'm a little bit jealous. These both, I feel like we're getting really good item drops. Obviously, the movement and the Jeebel's glasses and Void Ray helps quite a bit, but still, both runners had a little bit of time on that Cyraith, the Witch, but otherwise, it looks like they're getting drops pretty fast.
I think Solski just picked up a Heir Apparent that is on the bingo to collect 8, and that's a high amount. There are 12, I believe. But I don't know. Runner's experience, whenever you need to find the Heir Apparents, they're nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, Solski looking like he was potentially going up to the Hall of Termination, but just opening the lever for right now. That way he can come out of Hall of Termination later, potentially. The doorway is open.
Yeah, I personally used to be a big fan of going to Hall immediately. Sometimes the location of where you have your saves and warps kind of dictates where I'm going to go and how thorough I'm going to be with farming enemies. That said, if you have Zangetsuto prior to going to Hall, you can make your route a little bit more efficient, so there's reason to maybe put that off for now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Can you remind me how many saves and warps there are? Since those are shuffled, how many do we have of each in the game?
Oh, this I can't tell you the exact number. I apologize. I don't remember.
Yeah, one of the nice things with the randomizer is that you can choose that custom, but of course for our tournament that's not the case. There's a number set. I just don't know what it is.
They are shuffled. So there's the same amount as the base game with one exception. The save room before Alfred is always a warp room in this randomizer, and that is for soft lock prevention purposes.
Yeah, some of those were already built in, and the developers included randomizer, but I think that's the only one they overlooked that could get you in trouble potentially, if you don't have the right movement to get out of that area.
Yeah, I agree. I think they just missed that one. To their credit, there are a few other soft lock locations, and they did rightfully hard code those ones to be warps as well. If you are adventurous, though, the randomizer does have an option to disable the safety feature to add soft locks to your game. I don't necessarily recommend it, but if you like that as an option, it is there.
And we do see Alucard going up to Cathedral, or sorry, not Cathedral, up to the Hall of Termination. A little surprising. As you mentioned, no Zangetsudo, so he's not going to be able to, unless he finds it up here, not going to be able to beat Jeeble.
That has happened in this tournament already. Sometimes it's just under the doormat, so to speak. There are a lot of chests right by Jeeble.
Yeah, and Solski being a little more thorough here. I like this.
Yeah, he's taken his high jump backwards in entrance to what I call the Forgotten Room. 3 chests back here, 3 enemies, 2 of which you don't see till later in the game. At this point, if you can get here, they're not necessarily unique enemies that are only located here, but can be a good place to farm them early.
Yep,
And it makes me wonder, in a previous match between these two, Solski skipped a shard that ended up being probably what was the game, so I wonder if that's weighing on him for his decision to be a little bit more thorough this time. For what it's worth, there are a lot of shards on this bingo card. It will pay to be thorough. The Solski's taking the underground route. I shouldn't say underground, but rather the he's checking the other side of garden here. I anticipate he'll take this from garden to tower and then up to Libra to get his damage book from OD.
Yeah, I like this. It's obviously a marginal difference, but even just the slight lowering of the levels of these enemies, like Solski, you can see he's one-shotting most of these enemies. Alucard's taking 2-3 hits on everything to kill him. But
I think he just found Deep Sinker.
Alucard white shard. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So that gets us all the way down underground to clear out everything, basically, that's there.
Yeah, between Deep Sinker and High Jump. I think... So he's just missing the items now that are gating areas, being Silver Bromide and Zangetsudo.
Yeah, we don't have anything that we need as far as like keys for the optional bosses, since we have the Warhorse key. That's the best one to fight anyway for that bottom left tile that Solski already grabbed, so...
Yeah, easiest really fight in general, guaranteed shard.
Yeah, so we're not really going to worry about Carpenter's key or Millionaire's key either. There is a tile that's relevant to Celeste's key, but otherwise that room's useless.
Yep. Well, yeah, correct. I was going to say they have a objective to fully explore the Hall of Termination, but Celeste Key is not in the Hall of Termination.
Did we get is there not a warp up here in the hall? Between the 3, if there's not a warp, I think this is a good play from Alucard to go through 8-bit. If there's a warp, I am kind of surprised he's doing this now, because
yes,
this is going to be a tedious boss fight.
I agree with that assessment. I would not come in here. The only reason might be if there's no warp.
His enemies are doing a ton of damage. He can only take like 1 hit before he dies, so he's going to have to eat some food. He takes several hits from even his level 9, I think. He got all the way to grade 9 Void Ray.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what his strategy is going to be for 8-bit Overlord also. With High Jump, you can do it. You can time your jumps. to avoid the fire, but it becomes increasingly difficult as the fight goes on, and will slow you down. Like, honestly, the ideal way to do it in my mind without double jump is just to tank the hits. That may not be an option for him. He does have, I think I saw about 15 food in there, so he might be able to tank the hits. We'll see what he does. Solski, meanwhile, has gone underground. He's collected the waterfall area. It's kind of a bounty full of chests. I didn't see what he got, though. He was kind of quick at it.
I didn't see a lot of really good items. Yeah, nothing stood out, but I think this is a stronger play from Solski. As long as he doesn't...
Yeah, he's not committed here, too. He can, like, pick up a few of these unique shards and then just move on back towards tower.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing either go up right now, which is what he's doing. I like this. Or I was going to say go up through the door that leads to entrance that has the lever.
There's the one item behind that door.
I think that would be okay, too. But he's just going back up now, which, again, I like this. Just not going to spend too much time. That was a really good fight. Wow.
Yeah. Well done.
I thought that was going to take much longer.
I think the Void Ray was doing more work than I anticipated. Just kind of was able to hold the button down and aim at the 8-bit's face.
Yeah, sometimes the weaknesses and resistance to certain like element types are either odd and not what you'd expect, or more punishing than you might think. So, like for example, Ouroboros is really weak against fire, which is odd because he's the boss of the Inferno area.
Yeah.
I don't know about the 8-bit, what his weakness is. Apparently he's not resistant. It doesn't look like he's resistant to dark attack. Void Ray is.
Yeah. I do not have that much knowledge to know. I do know the Ouroboros one. I think the other thing with Ouroboros though is he, in addition to taking extra damage from fire, he's also very resistant to other elements, which makes you kind of change and learn what you need to do on him.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Solski only doing the first part of the tower and getting into library, while Alucard gets to the library from the other side.
We'll see if we get a high five here, and maybe at OD.
We very well might. I think Solski's going to get there a little faster, just because there's a lot of stuff at the top of the library it's a little bit more. He did his
fusion check.
I like that.
Yeah, at this point, with like the loadout they have a lot of damage. It's if you hit it first try, then great, you get a little bit of maybe an edge. But the cost opportunity is pretty low. There's Tis Resign.
It was on the painting.
So that's kind of interesting. Both the runners, I assume both our runners missed that, but with Alucard having Void Ray already leveled up, I don't think he's gonna.
They both have it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Link Force. Solski needs to teach me his strats for that bonk OD thing with high jump, because it always takes me like a minute and a half with high jump, and with invert it's like immediate. So there's something to do with the timing.
I never get it right. Like, no matter what I do, there's always only one chest.
Oh, I just keep doing it until the second one appears, but it takes me forever. Yeah, Solski does win the race to OD. Makes sense. There's a lot. It's way more linear at the bottom of this library area. But Alucard did get the objective on the card: defeat Tamako using we defeat Tamako death using only upbeat heat. So that is a second tile. I guess Alucard's first tile, but the second one that we have on our card.
Yeah, one thing that I missed, and it's probably only on the screen for just a split second, but there's the tile to kill those murderers dead 13 times, and The quest for that in the randomizer is shuffled, so your first target could be really just about anywhere in the game. And you need to complete that quest before you can get the other ones. We see Alucard struggling to get this stone.
Yeah. Again, I don't know what the resistances are. This may not be the greatest enemy to try to do this on. Typically weaker enemies and
yeah, my strategy for this is once I get this shard, this Petra Breath or Petra Ray, I just whenever the next time I return to town, I'm just gonna like go through like entrance and ship or whatever. I'll clean that up while also trying to petrify enemies.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, enemies that don't have a lot of elemental resistance tend to be a little bit weaker to it. But it's so hard to know and keep track of what enemies, because some of them almost seem arbitrary. You'll see that resist come up, and you'll think, why is this enemy resistant to this element?
Yeah.
But honestly, Petra Ray is, I think, a little bit better than Petra Breath. So you might even opt to like hold out and see if that shows up somewhere before really trying to dig his heels in and get that objective.
Yeah, it also might be something.
What enemy that was on?
I missed it.
Yeah, I did as well. I'm not sure if Solski has that upbeat heat as well. I don't recall seeing that.
I think
he does. It was on the
he has it. He just hasn't completed the objective. All right, so Solski has crafted Alcahest. He has also crafted Waystones. That'll allow him to purchase both of those in the shop. I know if I am lacking in Waystones, that may sometimes impact how I route too. So one less thing for Solski to worry about here.
Yeah, I like this decision from Solski and Alucard, kind of high-fiving in a way, again, both entering the tower exactly the same time, but from opposite sides. Solski looked like he was debating whether he wanted to do tower or upper cathedral, but probably waiting again, like you said earlier, Bad Moons, no Zangetsudo. Just clear out the tower, maybe hit it here before going up there and avoiding an extra trip.
Yeah. One thing I didn't see if Solski fought Andrialphus. I think he got the chest and then moved on.
He fought.
He's just so quick.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys are doing so much so fast, it's really hard to keep track of things. And there it is. There's that Zangetsudo. So it is in upper tower.
It does seem to show up there a lot, I've noticed. So this might give him Solski a little bit cleaner routing. Because he can, once he's done with the tower here, he can head into Hall and then clean up Jeeble while he's there.
Yeah, that'll be really nice.
Oh, you know what I missed also? Andrialphus had the invert shard too. I don't think it's particularly relevant anymore based on having Deep Sinker and High Jump. But,
yeah, there's some places where it's handy, I guess. Like if you're fighting like Valafar with invert and Aegis Plate, you just stand on the ceiling and you can avoid almost all of his attacks. If you don't get Dimension Shift, it can help these runners get into or out of Inferno, actually.
Yeah. It's just like you see a white shard and I don't know, I always get a little excited to see what it is.
Yeah, double jump's the only one still missing that we still need or still really want. It's very handy. We got shortcut. Shortcut is vanilla. All the candles in this version of the randomizer are vanilla all the time, just to prevent any crashes or any unusual behavior that could occur.
All right, Solski going into the Valak fight. This actually might be a place where he might use invert also. Just the first phase makes it a little bit easier. Yeah, he also may just opt to high jump spam. It's pretty easy to do. Yeah. So Alucard did finish the first Murderer's Dead. He's picking up all these quests now. I didn't see what enemy it was still, but maybe it was an enemy in Hall. That might have been part of his rationale for going up there.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Right, then defeat Bloodless and Valak is a tile on the card. I believe our runners each have 1 kill on opposite sides here.
Yeah, or at least we will as soon as this cutscene is over. Valak dies and misses the grab.
Alucard just crafted an Aegis plate also, which is a tile. Aegis plate.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna quickly mention Aegis plate is one of my actually preferred armors to wear because I often just run into spikes. Aegis plate negating damage from environmentals.
Yeah, there's some areas where it can speed you up so much just because you don't have to think about the traps. Like Inferno area, you can get comboed by the lava. Pretty dangerous. Same with the Secret Sorcery Lab. So even though you lose some of the stats, because it's not the best armor, like stat-wise, I think it's still worth it in a lot of places. I totally agree.
Yeah, it keeps things, it's one less thing to worry about. Sometimes simplifying between what shards you need to farm, where you need to go, what items you need to find, what bingo objectives you're trying to do, how many of this, that, are you growing corn right now, like all these things. Sometimes if you can just simplify it, it helps. Solski picking up a Sage Tome here for extra damage.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't see, but I assume that both of our runners picked up the Deadeye Tome initially. It's a substantial increase to the damage on directional shards, which is what Void Ray is, so that's almost always your best choice. And then once you unlock the opportunity for more books, you can go back and grab Sage Tome, potentially the Fortune Tome or the Might Tome, depending on what if you're like supplementing physical attacks, maybe.
Yeah, based on whatever your damage choice is for the current moment. Solski did find Petra Breath as well, having roughly about the same success rate Alucard had.
Yeah, you got at least one enemy so far, the painting. There's the demon.
You got the cannon also, I believe.
Yeah.
Alright, it's not doing so bad. I think he's got 4 already.
Yeah, I think
5.
I think the Cyrates is just a bad choice to start, and that kind of put Alucard off of doing that objective. Hopefully he gets to it sooner rather than later. I'm not sure what the success rate of that is as far as like levels go. If there's what factors into increasing that.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. This is definitely how I would clean it up. Solski's just entrance. There's a wide diversity of low HP enemies here.
Yeah, I think luck has a factor, and we can see, it's hard to tell with the accelerator on, but Solski has the Valkyrie dress equipped. He's got the white and black dress that is not customizable in color palette. And Alucard's using something else because he's got the traditional black and blue. So Solski might have more luck, which could be helping with this too. Although, not helping right now as the rat is being very difficult. Yeah, we'll see how much faster Alucard's fight here is on the Revenant, doing 100 damage with each tick for the Void Ray.
There it is.
90 from each of the 3 spears from Throw Spear, so Looks like it paid out for him to wait on that. And can go across to the lower tower from here. I like this. It's good routing.
Yeah, I imagine he might actually, once he gets to lower tower, he may just go all the way up to get Valak. I believe he has Bloodless already done.
Oh yeah, I fully expect him to do that.
A bit of a pause there on Solski's screen. I kind of want to anticipate that he finished the Petra Breath, the 10 stonings.
Yeah, he was making good progress. Went back to the ship briefly, to the Galleon Minerva to grab probably the last couple chests and some of the enemies there, like the Sema and the Dullahammer that aren't otherwise available.
Yeah, I think if he finally got that rat, he was at 9, so he probably just needed the Dullahammer head, or the Dullahammer rather.
And with that, Solski back on path to the hall. And I misspoke earlier when I mentioned we don't need that Millionaire's Key necessarily. We do if we're going to fully explore the Hall of Termination. Solski can do everything else while he's up there. As he makes his way through these last couple farm spots and the Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, that may be one that, well, you know, I mean, it's hard to rule out what bingos you may or may not go for, but, like, if I had to guess, they're probably going to try to avoid column 4. And as a result, that for a couple reasons here, the defeat enemies with a familiar is kind of a tiresome goal. And defeating Kune Kune is also not the quickest of goals. You gotta first you gotta find silver bromide, you gotta ride the train back. I believe you can't do it on the first go. And then you gotta sit and look out a window for a few minutes. All while then encountering a very dangerous enemy. So maybe one that they like to put off.
The trip, I always forget which one, but the trip one direction is faster than the other, as far as waiting on the Kune Kune to appear. But it takes, like, I want to say 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's definitely on the order of minutes.
It feels very slow when you're just sitting for 3 minutes or 2 minutes waiting on him to appear. All right, but there's Solski getting that deep sinker. That's going to be really good for him. And looked like he used upbeat heat on the Tamako death. He was struggling a little bit because the carriage was making it hard to get the kill. But I believe he took care of that objective as well.
Alucard's in the train area. There's 3. Well, I wouldn't say there's 3 somewhat unique enemies in this area. The Lily, available when you get silver bromide, and as well as the puppy. And then the carriage mort is in a couple locations, but I find I usually have difficulty getting that shard. So it's a nice place to try to clean it up with these other ones while you're at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alucard, I didn't see if he got all 3, but leaves the area happy with what he's got. He is having some trouble with that Petra Breath. Again, the Lily may just not be one of the best enemies to use it on. I've never tried it on the Lily.
Yeah, he may be just like going through and incidentally doing it as he is playing the game, rather than making a point. Yeah, I know. I would clean it up in entrance or town and just be done with it.
Not only is it harder for you to mentally keep track of, but you have to menu back and forth. Alucard is making really good use of that shortcut shard. You can see, like, when that wheel comes up on the screen for the shortcut menu, it enables him to switch loadouts for shards and items really fast, which I'm very bad at personally. But even still, like, it takes a little bit longer than just sticking with what shard you have. So maybe just switching once, getting it done, and then switching back is maybe a better strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. So Solski here now into Hall, cleaning up shards. He's continuing to be fairly thorough. To my knowledge, I don't think he's really skipped anything yet, except for Scythe Might, which is understandable one that Alucard's probably going to skip also. So it's
Yeah,
a safe one to skip on.
I'd almost not even call that a skip. Just because the Scythe Might doesn't show up regularly, especially if your main damage is Void Ray. For the Scythe Might to appear, runners have to like cause blood to splatter from some of these enemy attacks, and then it attracts the Scythe Might. But Void Ray doesn't cause bleed damage, so they just don't show up.
You know what also doesn't cause bleed damage that I have come to learn? Are the katanas. They will create an animation of blood, but it doesn't count for the Scythe Might to show up.
I don't think that's 100% true. That might be certain katanas, but I am almost positive I've gotten Zangetsudo to work for that.
Oh. Maybe I've had bad luck. Sometimes the positioning for those Scythe Might spawns is not the best too, but
Yeah, it's a very awkward enemy to try and farm. I don't understand all the subtleties. Sometimes they just don't show up, and I don't know why. We see the runners both treading over ground. The other has done. I imagine Solski is going to actually fight Jeeble and cut the Blood Moon here. No reason not to when he gets to that point. Alucard about to fight Valak. I don't know if we'll see Solski go up to the 8-bit area. That's going to be the possible decision point here for him.
yeah, we'll see if it's 2 save rooms and no warp. As we suspect it is, what he'll decide. Alucard taking advantage of invert strategies on Valak here. Essentially, you don't have to worry about the fire breath while you're standing on the ceiling. Valak, in the vanilla game, you're not going to have invert for a while when you encounter this boss. So, kind of a nice strategy to keep this going. And then once you do enough damage, you kind of have to go through the motions here of walking down the tower with Valak.
Yeah, we do see the double saves on Solski's side and the same decision to go into 8-bit area. Makes a lot of sense. I think he's slightly better damage output for this area. It's probably really similar. But I think he's got a little bit more damage than Alucard did.
Yeah, at the very least, there are more levels and experience, so just all stats are going to be marginally higher. Alright, so with that should be the Bloodless and Valak tile for Alucard.
Yeah, and we'll see where Alucard decides to go. Probably just getting to Underground, I would assume, is his path.
I presume he picked up the Zangetsudo on his way here too,
Yeah,
but I
he
didn't
did.
see.
I was trying to look at his reaction to see if he was upset at getting that after haul instead of getting it on the way as a potential routing advantage, but didn't really have much of a reaction to that.
Yeah, so in terms of like treasure chest items that they're looking for at this point, Millionaire's Key, as you mentioned, required for visiting all tiles in Hall of Termination. And then Silver Bromide to open up the train. This actually could be relevant, at least it's necessary for defeat Kune Kune, and I'm thinking there's actually a good chance that it's going to be necessary for Kill Those Murderers Dead 13 times. Like one of those enemies for that quest, or multiple, maybe behind the train.
So Alucard getting a little bit better luck on these enemies. This is some of the same ones that Solski got turned to stone. The Petra Breath, maybe going to dip into that. I assume he bought the Sage Tome as well to get overall shard damage increase.
All right, well, Solski took care of the 8-bit Overlord, even got the medal for no damage taken, so well done there. Of note, I did notice he was actually doing, his damage is a little bit lower than Alucard's when he was at this point, too.
Yeah, I think his summon or conjure shards are damaging more, but his directional is lower because he didn't level up the Void Ray to grade 9 like Alucard did, so that actually makes sense.
Right, so we do see some murderers dead turning right now. He's scanning. I can't quite tell what they are, but I think he's scanning what his potential targets are.
Yeah, I mean, with this many, they're spread out everywhere. He might be looking more at what, like, looking for a certain area. Like, okay, this is where I'm going next. Which enemies should I care about in that area?
Yeah.
Or potentially, is there one item that I get from something that could help me that I could look at?
Yeah, if it's like den heavy versus underground heavy, it might dictate where he, or Oriental even. That actually is an area I think we don't have access to yet, now that I think about it.
Yeah, we don't have Dimension Shift, we don't have Craft. Oh, we have Gale Crawler. We could use Gale Crawler to close the Iron Maidens and push them out of the way.
Yeah,
that is an option. I know Happer did that in one of their races, and it was a really novel idea. There was a card that had a lot of objectives up there, and it was really heads up, but
and Alucard does have Aegis Blade too. Got it from a deconstruct.
Yeah, you can do that without Aegis Blade too, which is more tedious because you have to take damage repeatedly and keep eating food. Alright, see where Solski is going now.
He might be going to clean up Bloodless.
Oh, that's right, he didn't do Bloodless. Okay, yeah, that's very obviously where he's going at. Since that's right here and there's no warp next to Bloodless, it was a save as well.
And I think Alucard's just going to make a play on Den here by first cleaning up Jeeble. Looks like he's may have missed a few shards to get those while he's here.
Alright, finally we get some Bolide Blast action. Look at this, almost, is it 256 damage per hit?
Yeah, he's doing it quite well, too. I always seem to miss every, third hit, thus making the strategy not as effective.
Yeah, I usually try to upgrade the rank on that one if possible, get a better area of effect, so it hits a little bit wider. You have more room to miss and still have it count.
So Millionaire's Key must have been found at some point that I missed, because Alucard is fighting Millionaire's Bane right now, and just like that, it's gone.
Yeah, well done.
So after he goes to Jeeble's room, presuming also getting this last tile in this room as well, he will have the objective for fully explore Hall of Determination.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of items that Alucard has that Solski doesn't, so I'm assuming Solski has that as well, unless it's here in Upper Library and he's about to get it.
Yeah, I didn't see Solski go into Millionaire.
He did not.
Chat
he was
says,
in Upper Library. That would make
Chat
sense.
says it's between Craftwork and Zangetsudo. They have shortcut.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, because
Alucard
Alucard went
made
down those
he made the
checks,
play to
Solski
open up
did
and
not.
go down there.
That's interesting, because without Craftwork in hand, Solski might not choose to go back and clean up that area for a while. Yeah, I mean, ideally he'd get Craftwork and be able to beat the boss. So the issue with that, if you're not aware, there is a problem with Craftwork shard being randomized, and it can cause issues. Basically, if you don't have Craftwork when you do the fight, the game will crash. So as a result, we made sure that shortcut appears on the boss, which is not progressive for any reason, and you kind of just have to know, don't go there without Craftwork.
And even possibly further to this detriment here is there's no kind of one of the only reasons you'd want to fight Craftwork is to get a tile, defeat a boss with X tile, and none of those are on this bingo card, which might deter him from ever going back to that area unless he remembers he missed those chests.
Yeah. Apparently, we do have craftwork though.
Oh.
Alucard using it to move the Iron Maidens. Again, didn't see where that was. It's very hard to keep track of all these shards sometimes while we're looking at the big picture.
All right, so we do see divergence here. Alucard's in Oriental, and Solski's making use of his deep sinker and checking underground. Especially like he might be thinking he's looking for 2 items: silver bromide and the millionaire key. And their underground tends to be a treasure chest dense area.
Yeah, it's very dense. I kind of like the underground play a little bit better here. I mean, deep sinker means you can get all these chests, whereas Alucard is going to necessarily have to leave a couple things behind. No dimension shift, he's already skipped 1 chest that he just can't get.
And then, like, you got to keep in mind, like, underground's going to lead to, like, desert and inferno and, like, other areas.
Oh, yeah.
Oriental is just kind of a one-way trip here.
Yeah, which isn't a problem necessarily if you have waystones, but if you get warp here, maybe that item under that little bridge that Alucard already had to skip, maybe that's important, and he's going to have to come back for it. I don't know if they have the Carpenter's Key, but that's something that potentially can't be done right now.
They do.
And also the... thank you, of course. Just the speed of enemies, like... None of these enemies in Oriental, again, none of them are dying in 1 hit, whereas Solski's one-shotting everything where he is, which is just a little bit faster farming. We could have vanilla Aqua String on the Decima. Nice.
Yeah, Aqua Stream is actually one of my favorite shards to find. It's actually surprisingly a very good boss damaging shard. As well as it does not consume very much mana. And it's also kind of unlocks a few areas here underwater.
Yeah, a little less relevant with Deep Sinker and High Jump and Invert and all that stuff. And in with Void Ray, I kind of doubt we'll see it for damage, but I like it too. If you get it early on and you're still struggling with either no Jeeble's glasses or just not a lot of good damage output shards.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Alucard just inverted and slid into that little hole for those 2 chests there.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought you needed Reflector Ray or Dimension Shift.
Really?
I never thought you could invert and slide. I'm learning something new here.
Yeah, there's so much in this game that it's easy to make these kind of oversights. You know, some of the tech that just seems intuitive, but if you haven't thought about it, you haven't thought about it. Kind of like some tech that I was recently made aware of. You can dimension shift past the magic gate or whatever you want to call it behind Alfred to get his deep sinker. I never thought to do that without doing the boss.
Yeah, new tech revealed to the community during this tournament.
So far, not a lot of exciting shards, it looks like, either in Underground, as Solski's spinning up, or in the Oriental Sorcery Lab, where Alucard is.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of yellow shards, which generally are the less desirable ones, as well as I don't think there are any relevant for this bingo card.
I don't believe so, yeah. A lot of times the augment or the resist shards, you need to get a whole bunch of them for objectives. We haven't seen those.
We found vanilla Jeeples.
Wait, where's the vanilla Jeeples? Isn't that the...
Well, I mean the Jeeples out in the world.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It was by the Shovel Knight guy by the save warp.
So Alucard takes out Zangetsu too. There's no shard reward for defeating him. Just a single treasure chest, and I believe it contained Mithridate. Not anything anyone's really ever looking for.
Hey, speak for yourself. Sometimes the poison toads in the desert can be pretty dangerous. Yeah, I was gonna say, what's Alucard looking for here? I wasn't sure what he was running back for. I thought he'd gotten all the relevant shards.
I guess he missed the Gujin. Got it and left. But of note, there is a tile to collect 3 shards from Gujins on here.
Oh, that's what it was. Because he did hit the Gushin shard. But
Oh, he did hit it. So
he was going back for a third. Okay.
Okay, so he may have 3 now.
Yeah, I think he does, because he hit one on his way through that first room with the kamikaze, and then I get one in the room with the breakable nose, and then one on the way back.
And then he's back to work here on stoning enemies.
Yeah, he's making it nice and easy for Link Force to count and keep track. I certainly don't know how many he's got. But...
Neither do I. I think he has 5, but
I'm gonna say 6, but I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I'm gonna trust that he can count.
We can always
I think when we see him no longer using it, we'll probably safely be able to conclude he's completed that objective. There's no way he's going to choose to not complete it.
Flashing screen warning.
Yeah, it's like resist, 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 resist.
And as you mentioned, Bad Moons, Alucard is going to Den, which has... It's not quite as dense as a lot of areas, just because of how literally big the screen is. I mean, that's the idea of the Den of Behemoths is full of large enemies. The screens are just amplified versions of other screens in the game. Particularly it mirrors the garden area. Takes a little bit longer to get around, but...
Yeah, I'm of the mind that going to Den as soon as you're capable of clearing it quickly is always the right play. So, I mean, it's kind of a little bit subjective there. But, like, the enemies are all going to have a lot of HP, so you got to make sure you have a way to take them out efficiently. And then you also need movement. Like, coming to Den with high jump, so both our runners have high jump, is certainly desirable versus having invert or even just dimension shift, because you'll spend a lot of time finagling with your movement just to get around.
Oh yeah, and we did see Chisel Barrage already on, I don't know if it was the Giant Toad, it was on something that Alucard got here. That is the second of that objective, because I saw Ruinous Root earlier. At least one of the runners has Ruinous Root. I know we've seen it.
I don't
think it was on Alu's side.
I don't remember seeing it at all.
There was Bullite earlier.
We definitely saw Ruinous Root. I don't remember where.
Sure?
I'm positive we saw it. I don't know if it's Alucard that has it, but somebody has it.
Okay, well, I have Solski with Registrima, Heretical Grinder, and an AS Aqua Stream. They're also on the cards.
Oh yeah, I missed that. There's a Aqua Stream and Amphibian Speed tile.
I also just realized those are the same initials for both.
Yeah. It was purple.
But yes, yeah, I saw the Aqua Stream. Thank you, Link Force, for keeping us on top of things.
Alright, Solski's continuing to be thorough on shard collection here. Living Fossil is another shard that I think most people will opt to skip. Just because, like, in addition to it having a lot of HP, you have to wait for it to animate and kind of put itself together before you can even start fighting it.
Yeah, it's another enemy, too, that the resistances are pretty high for certain things. Again, using fire on the Living Fossil is surprisingly effective. You'd think if it's a desert enemy, maybe it's resistant to fire, but using like dark attacks like Void Ray tends to be a little less effective. Alucard gotta be careful here, maybe... Okay. He does not want to take a death here. Let's say he could opt to just turn on the, put on the Aegis Plate, like you mentioned earlier, Bad Moons, just to get through these spikes and stuff, no worries. We get a guaranteed shard from this Harrier.
He does have a chance to drop an item from his item table too, but if you need something off the Harrier, it's already kind of sad times. It's kind of in your interest just
Yeah.
to get the shard and move on. I think it was Pickpocket.
That's a nice shard. That's
Yeah.
that's one that I usually would turn on right away.
Yeah, that's my go-to yellow shard.
There's a couple of the yellow shards are kind of afterthoughts for the most part, just minor stat increases here and there. But that's one of the most important ones, I'd say, depending on what you're looking for on the card. Maybe augment luck or augment gold, something like augment hints to get your damage increase.
If you need like a little bit more damage, you might switch off.
But I'm not sure what either of our runners are using. Maybe they just haven't bothered to do anything because it's not that important.
Yeah, the bonus you're going to get from most of these is almost always trivial to begin with, so... Like, honestly, even equipping the Pickpocket shard might get him, like, 2 extra drops throughout the entire game. It's more or less negligible.
Solski continuing.
I didn't see if he got the living fossil or if he gave up on it.
I don't believe he did.
I was watching him, and then the next thing I knew he was farming Puppy, and then the next thing I knew he was already gone. So moving quickly.
He attempted one more after the Rocky, so I would assume that means he didn't have it and left. There's plenty of enemies here in Inferno and the Secret Sorcery Lab.
Yeah.
Inferno's not very item dense, but again, that's okay for this card.
Yeah, in my head I kind of route all 3 of these dungeons, or not dungeons, but like zones all together. Inferno, Desert, and the Torture Lab here.
Yeah, that's just makes a lot of sense. Unless you get a warp somewhere and you have a reason to leave. I think that's common practice.
Yeah, and like a warp, and to that point, like depending on if there is a warp here or not, it may dictate what Solski wants to do. Like he'll probably just stay and clean everything up, although he does have a bunch of waystones if he wants to opt out.
Oh, there's Rigadoine.
So is Rigadoine on Alucard's side, and Solski's the one with Rigastoraima, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's interesting, both missing half of the puzzle.
So here's another place where Invert can help you sort of cheese a boss. Along with the Aegis plate, you can just kind of stand in the ceiling here, and Valifar can't really do much to you. He can grab you if you're not careful, though.
When there's the superior Petra Ray, after already using Petra Breath, you get Petra Ray. So,
I do like these Aqua Stream tactics.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it was still only two shots with Void Ray. And you can actually get this Fire Elemental without him aggroing like Solski's doing with Void Ray. But Aqua Stream's a little faster. Fire puts out water. So do we have any, like... Let's look back at the card again. I haven't been keeping track of that too. So we're still just looking for lots of card, mostly. Nothing's really changed as far as, like, runners wanting to push certain areas for objectives, I think.
And we did see, we got a message in chat, Ruinous Rude was in the Crafter. That's probably where you saw it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, in terms of this card, like, it's still a little bit early regarding where tiles are completed and not completed. Namely, for all of these, find shard X and shard Y. You never know, they could be anywhere on any one enemy, so it's hard to guarantee. But once some of these tiles start lighting up, you can kind of plot your path to go mode or victory here. It's still a little hard to tell. Like I said, I think they're probably going to try to avoid column 4 and row 4 if they can. Granted, you take what you can get. You do what's fastest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes it takes a lot of know-how and just experience playing these to know, like, should I go for this goal that I can definitely complete even though it might not be helpful right now because I could hit something else on the way, or is it too slow and I should just go to dense areas first where there's either a lot of items or a lot of new shards, that kind of thing.
Alucard did just pick up another hair apparent. He checked the list. I didn't see how many he had. It looked like it was 6, maybe 7.
I have 6 for him right now.
Yeah, so he's starting to get close.
He's missing 1 in underground.
Oh, that was Dimension Shift. Here in the Glacial Tomb. So that's pretty big for Alucard. That gets us the rest of the game. So there's a handful of isolated chests that are behind walls you can't reach. And to Bale, which is on the card, die to Bale. So that is immediately going to be relevant.
Yeah, I thought he was actually going to go do that.
I can't see why he wouldn't do that right now. I mean,
except, well, I mean, there's like a safe warp right beforehand, so yeah. Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do right now.
Summon Hellhound is on Doppelganger.
Oh.
Okay. So that's potentially a big damage increase from Solski. That's a shard where I think the rank is probably... That's one of the most helpful shards to rank up to get the size. The area of effect's a little awkward sometimes to hit that. If you can rank it up a couple times, it's just... You walk on the screen, you press Y or whatever your buttons are configured to, and everything does.
Yeah, I think Solski immediately checked his archive to see where the gunpowder drops were, so he could figure out where to go to level up his Hellhound. And the runners have probably got to be getting close on capacity also.
Yeah, 69 usually is pretty easy to get to, but we don't know what they have until they equip a gun and equip some kind of ammo. I don't think anyone's done that yet.
You'd be wrong.
Oh.
No, I missed it.
Yeah,
If you look at the board, Alu did it. Alu did it.
I see. Thank you, Link Force.
Right, Solski is looking at the shop here more. He's getting that gunpowder. Alucard taking a death to Bale, successfully completing an objective. He's got to be getting pretty close on Murderer's Dead too, so like it looks like he may be the first to get a bingo here on row 2. Sometimes it's hard to tell the way this plays out. Usually there's kind of a fire sale here at the end on tiles. You kind of get it very end game heavy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Looks like Solsti's cleaning up some of the stuff that Alucard did earlier. He was looking at that Ruinous Root and doesn't have the Demon Claw.
Yeah, he may be also assessing whether he can find cat ears and things like that for these other objectives.
I saw you made his Aegis plate as well, since the one found in the wild was in Den of Behemoths. That's kind of out of the way. You usually want it before then if you're going to want it at all. And it's on the card, so they definitely want it.
Some amphibian speed.
Oh, interesting. So that's another one where one runner has one shard and one runner has the other. Solski has the Aqua Stream, Alucard has the amphibian speed.
Big ol' hellhound from Solski. He's ready to go, and yeah, after he turns in these murders dead, I gotta imagine he's gonna be on his way to Den now too.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I don't know how many that was.
He just turned in 6. I don't know what he had before then.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's heading straight to Den.
I believe that's the last enemy here to farm for Alucard, except for Gremory.
Yeah, and there's a skull necklace too. Very bottom of Icy Tomb.
Yeah, and it's like Alucard's going to sub that out for the Blunder's Ring to get a little bit extra damage. With this card, I think that's probably smart at this point in the seed, and the fact there's only one objective that deals with item drops directly. I think that's a fair decision.
Alright, I missed it. Solski returned to the crafter here. Oh no, he's just moving stuff in his menu.
Was he showing that he had something?
He was showing us his objectives and I wasn't paying attention.
Same. I was busy watching the Gremory fight.
Alucard Waystone's out afterwards. All done with, I believe, Den and Icy Tomb. See if he shows us how many murders dead he's completed. Looks like 8.
Solski did pick up that Chisel Barrage, so if he can get that Demon Claw for Ruinous Root craft, he'll be good there. Oh, it looks like Alu does not have that yet either, but looking at the ways to craft it potentially.
I'm starting to wonder now, and like, where is the silver bromide? Because between the two runners, we've been just about everywhere, unless it's in one of those dimension shift chests.
There is, yeah, there's what?
Could be on ship. I don't think either runner's returned to ship yet.
Solski did go back to ship when he was using the Petra Breath to turn enemies
Yeah, but
to stone.
I think he just went in, petrified one thing, and got out. I don't think he like checked the chests.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. We had some stream issues.
That is correct.
Okay.
Oh.
I think at this point, though, once Alucard's done here in town, he's got to go underground. I think it'd be silly not to.
Yeah, at this point, he's got to probably conclude that the shards and silver bromide, like basically, there's nowhere else left for him to go. So
yeah, and cleaning up those dimension shift block things, I think it's just too few and far between.
Yeah, it's a low percentage play. You would clearly clear out underground before doing that. Especially, I'm not sure what the warp situation was in Oriental. It may not be easy to get back. Although you can go through Cathedral, right? With Dimension Shift.
Yeah, there wasn't a warp by Bloodless though, which is the closest one. I know the one by Zangetsu 2 was not a warp; it was a save.
Did
Oh, we saw the manipulative shards. I missed that on the menu, but yeah, those are the blue shards. I know we saw quite a handful from both our runners. It looks like Alucard does have all 6 that are needed for the goal. Do we have a shovel armor yet?
I don't think so.
I thought I saw a shovel drop, but it's very possible I misinterpreted that too.
We have summon shovel armor, I think. Yeah,
Maybe
right there
that's
from
what I
Solski.
saw. I gotta
Yeah.
imagine if we got a shovel drop, whoever they would immediately note to farm that shovel armor.
Mhm.
Looks like Alucard's now going through and checking off if he has these weapons for this long sword, Ufbert sword, Harpe, and Rava Burrell, as well as I guess I missed it. He already looked through for ribbon and cat ears and such, and has that.
Yeah, he found a cat ears. I think that's all he needed.
All right, Solski's checking his archive here, making sure he's continuing to be thorough. Gets an incidental Alcahest ×2 on the single giant rat down here in Den of Behemoths.
Always nice. It's always nice if you hit the giant rat in Den for the first time.
Yeah, I always thought that was like a clever location to place that enemy too. Like it's one of those like tiny baby rats on the ship, but in Den of Behemoths, it's a full-fledged giant rat. Yeah, so our runner's kind of trading places here on where the other one has been, which may start completing some of these double shard goals, where one has one and one has the other.
Oh,
Solski almost takes the death there.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. That grab
Yeah.
is relentless.
You can at least pause during it and eat food to recover. Did Alucard just skip an item in the wall there, or am I crazy?
no, here he got it.
He grabbed it and then he turned around to get a petrification and then came back in here.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like, that's really odd to just not pick that up.
Yeah, there's the hair apparent.
All right, so he's 1 away on those.
Yes.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, it's because he was starring it. I was like, they're not even in order. They will be the next time he's in that menu.
And there's the Regadoine for Solski, so he's got that objective, I believe.
Okay.
He'll check for us.
No, he won't. Oh,
He's
he.
looking right now.
Strima. Did
Yeah,
he?
so you picked up Rigadoin right now, and he
Yeah.
just showed he has Rigastarima.
So he's good there. And we're still not really looking at any full bingos anywhere on this card imminently. The 1100 HP is going to be coming up really soon. Both our runners, but that doesn't quite get us there. Oh wait,
Yeah.
the bottom right tile should be done by.
Oh
Alucard.
yeah, you're right.
I kind of wrote that off because it's such a free tile. Once you get Zangetsudo, it's just gonna happen naturally. Soul's gonna get there too. He just needs to kill the GX.
Yeah, he's nearly there.
What's he done farming last?
I was
Well, I mean,
discouraged because Alu didn't want to. That should be Solski's last manipulative.
Yeah, so as predicted, they were starting to come together all at once. A lot of objectives hitting in short
Yeah.
succession.
So it's like going to come down to like looking at Kill Murderer's Dead is probably a very achievable bingo here, as well as they're probably going to hope to find the 8th Heir Apparent as well as the Shovel Armor. Maybe Shovel Armor will just be available in the crafter too if they can't find the drop, which would put Alucard at 3 bingos. Little bit of work for Solski to do. The not having the Millionaire Key will block him from fully explore Hall of Termination.
Mm.
There's well, getting ahead of myself there. Try not to spoil things here. Alucard will shortly be finding an Aqua Stream, I feel.
I also just
And
found
his-
Registrima, so he has that going now.
Yeah, and that top left, bottom right's very obtainable too. At any point with the defeat, the familiars with the familiar shards. That's probably going to be the final tile, if that's relevant.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's gonna.
Maybe for Solski, that's an objective for him now. They're getting everything.
Which
all the triggers.
familiar are they using? So I see Alucard has a viewer following him around. That's Solski has a viewer, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Alucard has the Bloodbringer still.
Yeah,
I think
Bloodbringer.
he had one of them had a silver armor and traded it. I think
They
Solski
all-
had that and traded it for the viewer.
They should
Yeah, I
both
would've-
have silver armor.
Right,
I
they
would've
both
kept
have
the
it. I think
silver.
Solski was using it though. Alucard's just been using the Bloodbringer like the whole time.
If you get them high enough level, most of these familiars you need to take out aren't very strong. But Bloodbringer in particular has some accuracy issues where it seems to miss over and over again, kind of at the mercy of it.
See if Solski gets the dimension shift here in any second. Looks like it'll be convenient if he gets it here in this room where there's a chest that's dimension shift or reflect array locked.
Alucard's still working on this Petra Breath too. Doesn't have the objective.
Oh, my.
there's
That's-
the
there's
silver
silver
That's
bromide.
spicy. Okay, so
Oh.
that's something that Solski might not go back to. Just now getting his dimension shift after having
That
cleared
is-
this area.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for Solski. This is probably one of the only chests he missed on his way down here.
Yeah, because I would expect Solski after he's done here gets the Die to Bail objective. Beats Gremory. I would imagine he's going to go to Den. He hasn't been to, or not Den, the Oriental Sorcery Lab. He hasn't been up there yet.
Yeah, I mean, like especially like you like that's probably a chest that's not even on my radar as something to go back for.
It's depending on the saves and warps, it might be a little bit easier for them than the one in the tower, Tower of the Twin Dragons. That's right before.
Yeah, but like at this point, you're gonna like I guess you said like after this, he's gonna
You go to that.
you clean up what you're doing here, and then you're gonna go to Oriental. It's like the next big or last remaining area of chests and shards to collect. And then you're in like, what did I miss? You're gonna look at your archive, clean up, maybe go back to ship at that point. But you're gonna have to like wonder like there's some things that like, despite Solski's best effort to be thorough here, you're gonna miss some things here and there.
Yeah, just by sheer ordering of your route.
Alu is 2 HP off from 1100.
Solski is there, it appears.
Yeah. shortly have his Bale encounter here too.
Wow, just look
Very
how much
difficult
faster that
fight.
Domino fight was.
I've never seen someone defeat Bale in this
Okay.
Cinco Bingo.
Why? Why would you?
The unequip his armor to die faster. Looks like he does.
Yeah, this is something I always just neglect to do and take the hits. I was gonna say you'll see how many seconds this saves, but he's taking time to look a few other things up too.
I think he may or may not have a heartbeat, so he looked at where Rava Baral is.
Yeah, it still took a fair amount of hits. But objective complete. See the game over screen.
Okay. I am going to believe Alu on that he turns things to stone.
Yeah, he's been working on it all game.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. He had at least 8, so there could have been 2 I missed.
Yeah, and I like this decision from Alucard to, with that bromide find, to not full clear all of Inferno and Secret Sorcery Lab and just kind of push Train a little earlier. He kind of cleaned up what was on his path in Desert and just got to the nearest warp.
Okay.
Yeah,
think that's
with the
really
warp
smart.
there, you can just come back whenever you want. So I do agree. Train is to me is always a good play. Opens up more items in the shop, which is kind of irrelevant here, but like just my gut feeling there's always something at Train.
I mean, the Kune Kune goals here, and that even like the Demon Claw to get Ruinous Root, that's big. Like, you know, that could potentially be a full column. Which one is it that he needs? The Harpe? I don't know how Alucard's progress is on that particular objective. The Longsword, Ulfberg, Sword, Harpe, and the Bermal. Maybe you'll find one of those.
It looks like Solski's checking everything out, what he can and cannot craft at this point. Crafter's not easy.
6, 7.
At least they have the luxury of all the Alkahest they need. But, you know, some crafts unlock based on the books that you find, but typically the way you want to use the crafter is just to dismantle the items you already have. But looking at what you can craft can also give you clues as to where the parts are that you need. So there's a skill here in using this crafter. Of note, of difference for this randomizer, the crafter is random. It is not shuffled. So there is a chance you can find anything or nothing that you need from the crafter. But odds are pretty good. It's what you want is in there somewhere.
Oh, wow. This is bold from Alucard.
He's just going straight for Kune Kune.
I don't like this. Like, I'd at least go to Bathin and get the shard. That's going to be such a fast boss fight.
I mean, you kind of want to do Kune Kune anyway.
Well, he's going to Kune Kune right now. Like,
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I really don't like this. You just got the bromide. There's a bunch of enemies to farm really quick. He's not even farming the enemies. He just left.
The
Like,
hair
Honor
parent
Wars would
he
be the
might
Bathin
be
shard.
back there too.
I think
Yeah.
he got a hair parent. Because he
Oh,
has
did
On the
he?
train. Does he have 8, you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah.
Is that his go mode then? Because that would be.
That gives him 1, 2. I guess I'm just 2 pingos.
Well, so he's got column 2, row 2 is easily obtainable.
Yeah.
Top left, bottom right is pretty much right around the corner.
Yeah.
And hair appearance would be. I don't know. I'm not seeing 5 bingos there unless we're missing something.
I mean, so. Wait, never mind.
There's a couple
If he
tiles
if he,
right there.
if he gets the Shovel Knight armor, then
Yeah, it's possible a Shovel Knight is just in the crafter somewhere, or at least he's anticipating
Yeah.
it being there.
Well, I mean, you can find the Shovel Knight armor pretty freely too. If you have steel, you can look up that enemy drop really easily. That's another thing that obviously the runners are allowed to do is look up drop tables and things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with the Silver Bromide, he has access to everything in the game. Like, it's somewhere that he can get to. So
Yeah.
if it's
Yeah,
not
so-
in the crafter, he may just, look it up and find it.
Yeah, and this is a perfect time to do that, to look it up while you're waiting for this minute and a half.
There's some issues here. Solski does look like he's cleaning up these cathedral.
yeah, he
chests.
farmed for a wolf hood.
Okay. We'll see if he goes back and finds his millionaire key, too.
I would imagine he would if he's got
No.
crap.
Oh, he hasn't done Oriental. He's going to go up to Orient. Oh, he's
No,
gonna
he's
try to
doing
get
Pokemon.
Yeah, he's going to try to get these defeat certain enemies with a familiar. Familiar of choice is a Buer. Bold move, I would say, but I guess you do have a kind of a better degree of control of where it's going to go.
Yeah, for some of them, it's like way easier and faster. Oh my gosh!
Versus just like hoping for the best.
It's not an important shard, but hitting the shard on the Kune Kune is absurd.
Yeah, well, so like Kune Kune for Alucard. I still not sure if he had. I think he's still short on 1100 HP. Here.
No, he has 1100.
Oh yeah, I think he just got it. He's at 1052 right now, and his meter's not full. So.
Oh, and he is also now engaging in
Pokemon
familiar
battle.
warfare.
Yeah.
I think this is where I think Solski's strategy may pay off. How?
Yeah, if you get to level up the viewer, the problem with the viewer is like
he gets in your way.
he's kind of obnoxious sometimes. If you're using a lot of Void Ray or obviously Hellhound, it doesn't matter. But it's kind of like more important that you level them up. Like like a low level silver armor still does decent damage, but the viewer is very weak early on, so you have to invest that time in leveling him up. Otherwise, doing this objective is just miserable.
How many familiars? There's
I think there's 5 on the card, right?
5. Okay, Al has at least 3. I think Solski did double hammerhead. Ted, there's the cat ears.
Yeah, they gotta. I think they both have to still have the Bloodbringer battle.
I don't know. Solski could have done it.
Dance
Already.
I think Solski got the Dandelion pick.
I'm just trusting them on these things. Oh, there we go. Now you guys have the card.
There we go. Yeah, it was not updating properly. We got it back up and running. All the objectives we discussed that weren't showing for you guys. It's a little bit easier to see how close we are to the finish on Alucard's side.
With both runners being roughly in the same areas now, I guess I haven't kept the best track of where these heir apparents are. If there was one on train, then Solski is going to be
Yeah, there was one on. Well,
missing that too.
I can go back and look, but
I think at this point we're probably until it becomes more relevant, we can hold off on it. Solski is taking an attempt here at the Carpenter.
Oh, this is a smart place to do this fight.
Yeah, Aqua Stream is great.
Oh no, I was gonna say for Alucard to fight the Bloodbringer here, he's like able to damage it without aggroing it. And as I say that, he aggroed it. It was going smoothly for him. There it is.
yeah, I think he just needs double hammerhead now. is not an easy feat.
Yeah, that's the most elusive one. I found especially with the Silver Knight, like that one is really obnoxious.
With the viewer, you can obviously
Yeah.
control it.
Yeah, the viewer's good for that one. And the Dull Hammerhead itself, just because the way it swings around, like you can just... It just happens naturally. Like that kill was with the Void Ray by mistake, trying to get the ghost out of the way.
How many is that?
I didn't see. I was trying to count, but they weren't sorted.
I missed it as well.
I gotta imagine he still has to go and turn in. We can maybe get a better look at that point.
There we go.
I'm honestly surprised Alucard's using this big open room to do this farm. I kind of don't like this. You can just go to the ship, and it's a smaller room, so if your Bloodbringer, like, gets distracted or targets one and misses, you can kind of get luckier and hit one on accident.
Yeah, I think he's changing strategies here.
I don't know if his viewer is strong enough to do this.
I don't think I mean,
No, I
unless
don't think
the
it's gonna work.
Bloodbringer misses one and instantly hits another one, I'm not sure it's happening.
Oh, he got a double hit on one.
Oh, nice. Okay.
All right, well done.
Yeah, I was gonna say the small room on the ship is kind of just happens though. Sometimes you just get those double hits occasionally.
Yeah, it's something I wouldn't have thought of, but
Or
I think
misses.
that is a good location for that.
What's going on with Solski? Why is he baby speed? Did he fail baby skip?
Oh no!
Yeah,
He got the Zangetsu glitch.
I've never seen this.
Alu got it once. It
Yeah.
makes everything slow. Makes you very slow.
I think just resetting should cure him of this ailment. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Okay, well that was interesting.
Okay, I'm gonna go look at his hair appearance. Just to see if he does have only 7. I'm looking, Mike.
I gotta imagine Solski has the 69 capacity by now, too.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah,
There's like no way he couldn't have it.
I'm assuming he got the 3 shards from the Gushins.
That I'm actually not sure of.
Yeah.
Because, like, that might be something he's like, okay, well, whenever, train shows up, I'll just do it there. It's a reasonable place to
Because if you're
farm
gonna
it.
do the Kune Kune anyway, like there's 6 Gujins in a row, it makes it really easy to farm.
And he's, like, scraping the bottom of the barrel now, looking for where Bromite might be. Like, he's starting to run out of chests here.
Meanwhile, Alucard's on his path to the Last Murderer's quest. Is that what he's looking for here?
Yeah,
That's
he's doing those.
Yeah, or he could also, like, incidentally get another of these shards he needs to, like, get a bingo, too, so...
Yeah, or
he's not even checking chests anymore. Oh,
pushing
some
through the
chests.
shovel armor. He did pick up steel from something just a moment ago, but not actually farming it. So it must not be the shovel armor goal.
What he got? Okay, yes, he was completing the Murderer's Dead. And then he got out of there immediately.
And then he'll just need one more objective.
Yeah, I think that was
I
12.
believe that was 13.
That was 13.
Alright, that would be his 4th bingo. So he just needs
1, 2, 3,
one of the shards to the top right, or the shovel armor, or the rapiers and the other swords for that bottom row as well.
So you got to turn them in. You can't. I hope he knows that.
He might just be confirming that he has enough to turn in for when he goes back to town. I didn't get a count.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from that menu because it's mixed with other quests.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
that's true.
You did have them all, like, in a... Well, it's... Oh, I see what you're saying, bad ones, yeah.
Hey, there's craft.
That's where that was, that we missed, or that I missed anyways.
Yeah, and he got the 4 kills for another murder's dead, so I presume he's still working on it.
Yeah, he just completed that one. I think that's it.
So Alucard's searching here.
No, I think... I don't know, if I was in his place, I would be looking up the steel to find out what enemy...
I think he did, and
that.
Darkus is saying it's on the Harrier.
Oh. That's terrible.
That's my fault on a curse. I mentioned that the
Yeah.
Harrier does have its own drop table, but it's not one you want to fight or farm.
Hey, I did it for an Ariad bar recently.
Yeah, I applaud you for it. It's still something I'm not interested in
You
doing.
got that. You got the there. Okay, now this thing's got that.
Solski's gonna go pick up
Another tone.
yeah.
I mean, if you're here, I guess why not?
Did he pick up I think he picked Tailwind, which is give him
Oh no, it was Godwin or Godsend.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it was Godsend.
Alright. Is that the last familiar that Solski needed to defeat?
I think he still needs a Bloodbringer, right? Or did he get the Bloodbringer? He's done all the other ones. I know he's done all the other ones. So if he's got the Bloodbringer,
Yeah,
he's
you may be
good.
right.
That maybe that's the one he needs. But he's definitely got the rest. Good progress there.
I'm just gonna trust. I think Alu is.
Yeah, Soul's going to another very often missed location to try and see if this is the thing he needs. It's a unique item. It's the Galleon
It's a
map.
Eh,
That's really unfortunate because it's considered a key item, just like what he's looking for, the bromide.
oh,
Not a good one.
okay. Alu says he has longsword. He's got the rapiers and he's got all the others. He's got the bottom row.
Would that not be his fifth bingo?
Yes. I'm looking on his actual stream.
I'm not sure what he's looking for then.
He's looking for a harpe.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I thought you were mentioning he's got that tile.
Yeah.
Got it.
Alucard
I mean,
has finished.
he will. Yeah, he has.
He will have that tile once he finds the last item. Yeah.
Yes.
Which must be on this death trap. And there it is. Makes 5 bingos, and that's the finish for Alucard2004. GG's to him on the victory.
Can you guys send him the link? Actually,
I don't know if I'm capable of it.
You should.
We'll get him in here for an interview.
Yes.
We'll get both of them in here if they're willing.
Commentator controls. Okay, I got it.
Thank you, Link Force.
Thank you. Looks like Solski deciding to forfeit at this point. Makes sense. Not quite in go mode yet. It's not always fun to try to finish these out when you just fumbling around for that one last thing that you need to pull everything together.
Yeah, and it was a very unfortunate location for him. I cannot fault him for his route.
Yeah, I even said when he was doing that, I preferred it to what Alucard was doing. It just didn't end up working out.
Oh, and we are joined by Alucard2004, the winner of this race and the tournament. GG.
Thanks.
So, I guess just to start, first question here: how are you feeling? How do you feel this seed played out?
It was a weird one. Because there was just so many, like, shard pairings. Some of them were, like, comboing together, and then there was just so many items. And I was, like, really scared of the items, but things were kind of just falling in place kind of quickly in those regards. But it was, I was really unsure about how the crafter was going to work out.
Yeah, it's always, I mean, it's random. It doesn't necessarily have a solution for you, but the Alcahest and money was at least one less piece to worry about.
That's right. That's completely true. And I think I'm happy I went for that. The play of just, like, get a lot of money early and just power up Void Ray and just go to town. The early Jeeble deconstruct was really good too.
Yeah, we saw you made the play for the Alcahest and money immediately. I think Solski didn't catch it initially, so he went out to farm Alcahest from the rat, which, all things considered, wasn't that bad either.
Right.
Yeah, he farmed a couple and then didn't spend the time on the leveling up his Void Ray, so he kind of had a head start there, but you picked up time in a few places, just having that stronger shard, for sure.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was the right call to power it up, but, I mean, Void Ray is so good. It's just, it ticks so many times. It felt good to just breeze through the game with it. I think it paid off overall, because I pretty much used it throughout the rest of the game, and it made farming real free overall. The throw spear early was really nice too.
Yeah,
the
certainly.
only thing he out on was Hellhound, which wasn't early for Solski, but he did hit that and use it for a little bit at the end to continue to clear a little bit faster. Like, especially his den clear was a lot faster because of that.
I'm sure. Yeah. I saw that double jump craftable in the shop too, and if he managed to pull that out, then that would have been really nice for Den.
Yeah, I don't think either of you got that, the double jump. It looks like Solski's going to pass on an interview here. Oh, sorry. So you did go to 8-bit, what I thought a little bit early. Worked out, it's no problem. Do you have do you remember what you were thinking about that time? You were in Hall without Zhang get pseudo yet. I can't remember the warp situation.
Yeah, I decided the main thing was the warp situation, actually. That was the reason I did go to 8-bit, and the reason I was continuing through that area without returning to town. Like, I had Waystones, I could do things, and I had DPS, so that wasn't really a concern for me. I mean, if there was a warp, I might have, like, headed back and gone in a different direction, but I wanted to clear things efficiently, so I just kept going through the areas, and then I figured we can just do, like, a big deconstruct session later. But once I hit a warp, I knew I could go back, and I knew there was, like, the rainbow scarf on the Abigail quest and stuff like that. Just power up a little more and plan a little better. So I think something was in, I think Circular River, Heretical Grinder. I don't remember. Something was up there.
Yeah, I believe one of the two was there, and the other one, to my knowledge, has not been found.
Directed shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, unlucky. Because it was just right there on both tiles.
It's possible it's beyond train. So at the time we weren't sure, but I'm guessing you had calculated a go mode already when you took the train and then you immediately turned around to go for Q&A. Were you in go mode at that point?
I was pretty much thinking I was in go mode generally, especially because I maybe could have figured out how to craft a Ruinous Root and then get column 4. I was also doing some lookups and planning during that Kune time. I know Ace, you did that in one of your races, and I kind of stole that idea. It was good.
Yeah, that's an excellent time to do it.
Mm-hmm. I know I missed out on some shards there post-train, but I didn't think it was worth it when I had Go Mode available to just sit around and farm. There's no guarantee that you're going to hit what you need. I think I don't remember when it was I identified it, but I think the X shovel armor is on Harrier.
That was our conclusion as well.
Terrible. Yeah, it's just actually awful.
And then there was no help in the shop.
I didn't see it. If it was there, I could have maybe looked at like craft options and maybe purchased a deconstruct or deconstructed a couple layers down. But at that point, you know, I had bromide. I was like, I'll just eat the time loss. Let's just get the Kune done. Let's just get tiles done that we know we have to do anyways. And we'll do a little quick calculation. And at that point, I was like, okay, I think we can get there. The Harpe needs to be somewhere reasonable, and then we'll be good. And it ended up being pretty free to go get. Thankfully, I did hit Longsword and Desert. That was like also a turning point for me, which is why I basically bailed on Desert. I knew there were some quests down there as well, which was why I went in that direction over other directions. And I was like, okay, maybe we can just hit one of these shards. Maybe we can hit the drops, and it kind of worked out that way.
Yeah, it is interesting. The Murderer's Dead quest is typically one of them that I don't even think about. It just kind of completes itself as you're playing the game. But this ended up being essentially one of the last tiles in determining where your route was at the end of the game.
Yeah, I think I could have beat Alfred and picked up some more maybe, but whatever. It was fine.
So what did you think about this silver bromide location? Is it just kind of like, oh, there it is, it's had to show up eventually, or were you kind of racking your brain about it, or, you know, maybe Kune was never really, it's kind of more of a last resort tile? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, at the end, I was mostly just thinking, hey, well, it's either get the X shovel armor, get one of these remaining shards that I need, or get bromide is my go mode. That's kind of what I was thinking. So, and I knew I could maybe figure out the Ruinous Root situation. So that's why I was like, okay, do I try to figure out this crafting, or do I do Kune? But it's in the same column, so I kind of have to do it anyways. Like, I was trying to go back and forth about doing the familiar attacking things, because some of these tiles are kind of slow, like figuring out where the Harpe is. And at the time, I didn't have Longsword when I was thinking about these things, so it was like, how do I close this out? There's some options, but they can be really slow or painful farms and that kind of thing. So once I ended up hitting the Longsword and I knew I had bromide at the time, I was like, let's just go. Let's just go to Kune. We'll figure out where the Harpe is quickly, and we got there.
Well, congratulations and well done. One other kind of location question I want to ask your thoughts on was the dimension shift location, and how it, were you thinking prior to going into the Icy Tomb you'd have to come back for Die to Bail, or is it just kind of like a gift given to you, so to speak? Or what were your thoughts on dimension shift?
Yeah, that was a big happy surprise, honestly. Like, I thought dimension shift was gonna be somewhere else at the time, because I full cleared Den, and I was, working through Icy Tomb, and there weren't that many shards left, and I was just my mouth was just wide open, and it worked out so well. I got extremely fortunate. I guess maybe both of us got extremely fortunate because there were no warps down there either, and so there wasn't an easy way to get back. You'd have to run all the way through Den. I don't even think there was one by Valifar.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I know for me, when I play these, the warps dictate more about how I'm routing this, more than I think I should allow them to. But like, it's certainly something to factor in.
I thought the den play was still good though, just because there was the corner tile that we needed. There's just a ton of shards there, so I had pretty good confidence that I would hit some of the manipulative shards while I was there, because I still needed like 1 or 2.
Yeah, the den play ultimately probably is what got you to win this race too, or at least had a factor in it. You went to den before Solski. Solski went down into underground first. As a result, by the time you went underground, you had the dimension shift to get the silver bromide, and Solski was basically at a point where he was just checking any remaining chest he could think of, looking for that bromide.
Got it. Yeah. I thought my DPS was good enough to go through den. I felt like I generally had pretty good luck overall. There were like, the ship was absolutely terrible, but other than that, everything was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, once again, congratulations and GG, and yeah. We have our Bloodstained Cinco Bingo Rando champion here for 2021.
We did it. Definitely feels good. Like, GG to Solski for sure. Honestly, I think Solski might be a better player at this than I am, but in his words, just hit. But yeah, he's a really strong player at this. I think a lot of people thought we were the favorites to win. I do think that, Ace, you and Bad Moons here could have easily taken it too. I've seen some very competitive times from you guys as well. So, and I really appreciate everybody who participated in the tournament and came out, as an organizer and creator of the bingo itself. It's just awesome to see so many people coming in and playing the Darkest, Rukil, Hapra. It was awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate each and every participant in this tournament. So thank you to everyone for joining it.
Yeah, and thanks to Linkforce and Asmati for helping with some of the crew items, and definitely the SpeedGaming admin for supporting the tournament and helping us out. I see maybe one of them snuck in here.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the grand finals. I've got to find some way to sneak on in here to congratulate the one and only Alucard on winning the tournament.
Thanks so much.
And, of course, to Solski for the second place effort, and for the entire crew here for the Bloodstained Ritual of the Night Randomizer Bingo. Thank you very much for coming on by and sharing your community here with SpeedGaming Live 2021.
It was awesome. Thanks for having us.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it was great.
And of course, also the shout outs to Bad Moon, who helped out with the organization of this tournament in addition to Alucard. So thank you very much for everyone who's been on board for this. And I do hope that you all had fun.
Yeah, this was great.
Yeah, it was great. Echo Bad Moon's sentiment there. Like, I had a ton of fun. I think a lot of other people enjoyed it. It's nice to see like new strats and things developed for Randomizer too. Like, those were some of the greatest moments for me this week, as we kicked off this first Bloodstained tournament maybe ever. I don't even know if like there's been a speedrunning tournament for Bloodstained. I haven't seen one, so it's pretty cool to see like all sorts of new tech get introduced, and like Randomizer specific tech as well.
All right. Unless you've got any other questions, Ace, I think we're ready to wrap this up. Or any final words, Alucard?
Just GG to everybody in the tournament. Thanks again to SpeedGaming for helping us put on some fun shows. I know y'all put together a lot of recordings and such that got played in the mornings. Some pretty exciting matches, head-to-heads, like the Ace Bad Moons matchup. It's pretty sweet. And the Ace Hapra, Ace Solski. Ace, you got some good matches. That's all I'm saying.
There were a lot of good matches. A lot of close ones throughout the whole tourney, and even the ones that weren't super close at the finish, a lot of them tended to be close based off of, at least for most of the race, a few checks, a few lucky plays, or a couple decisions made the whole difference. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I think that's all I got to say.
Yeah, just thanks everyone. That's all I got to say here. Really fun tournament.
All right, and thank you to SpeedGaming and SGLIVE 2021. If you need anything else you need to do here, Rick, we're ready to move on.